In today's video on Dyson DC24 we have to start getting all of this to resemble an assembled vacuum cleaner, and we shall concentrate in this video on the motor. And if you see carefully, you might notice there are two. Let me explain why. Yes, hello my vacuum cleaner chums on a very hot night. I have my horrible legs out again, but you can ignore all of that because we need to discuss the motors. Because, as you can tell, I have two. This is the original motor that came out of the machine when we first started with it. And what I stupidly did was to try and take it apart. Turns out, I should have flipping realised, you can't actually take Dyson DC24 motors apart very easy, because as I shall now show you by ramming a screwdriver in so I can undo the nut for the fan, it is knackered. This is very, very broken. I can't even lock it down now to take the fan off. Hang on, let me get this off and I'll come back. There we go. We had the fan off. Now we want the fan, actually. So we shall put that aside, but we have all of this from the motor. We also, actually, need this plastic part here, which I'll explain why in a minute. It's my own silly fault that we're doing it in the first place. Because you see, I went to change the bearings, and it turns out that you can't. This is the Panasonic motor, as you can see. And to get the Panasonic motor off, you have to break these four crimps. When you've broken these four crimps, this bit comes off. But it then will never go on again, as I found out. You just cannot get them back in line. So this motor is scrap. Completely scrap. So, I bought this from eBay. And this is how it came. It's not a complete motor. It's missing this part here, which is why I've had to take it off of the other motor. It's also got, in fact it is quite clean actually, a fan, but obviously the fan isn't quite as clean. In fact it is cleaner. We won't be using that fan, and I was going to use the washed fan, but actually this one is cleaner. So what we need to do is get ourselves a Phillips screwdriver. I'm hoping it runs as well. The armature is in very good condition, so that's something. We have to build this motor back up using all of the decent parts, ready to put back into our machine. So yes, if your DC24 motor breaks itself, unfortunately it is scrap. There is nothing you can do really to uncrimp it and put it back together. I have heard that DC03 motors do fit with a little bit of modification. Didn't go down that route for this. I thought I would stick to, you know, what we have. Yeah. Basically, we put the fan onto there. We have many washers now, but we'll use this. I don't know which one we'll use actually. We'll use this one. It doesn't actually matter. Now this should now screw on nicely. I think. Oh, it won't. Where's the other nut? One of these nuts isn't very good. One of them is. I think it's this one that's very good. So obviously, yes, in doing that, I also knackered the thread on the nut that holds the fan on. You should be able to spin it on by hand. Then just by holding the fan, lock it down in place and spin it on. While we're at this stage, we shall have a quick peek at the carbon to check this isn't about to destroy itself either. No, they're very good. Nice length on those carbons. So we can put that back in. I imagine the other side is going to be exactly the same, or not, because it's been forced in at some point. So while we've got 2 okay carbon brushes spare, I'd rather find out now that we need it. Oh, it's all bent. I think that's fine. I'm not going to mess around with that now. It's been bashed about a bit in the post. And then with our fan on, we can put the fan case on. Again, we have 2 to choose from. This one is nicer, so it can go on as well. There is no real way around it goes. You just put it on and eventually it will line up enough. He says, hopefully. Oh, they are different. Are they different? Because I didn't take the other one off. I don't quite know. I don't really want to hammer it on. Normally these do push on. There we go. Check that the fan still turns. And yeah, my little stupidity is now fixed. We have a nice working Dyson DC24 motor. All of this can go in the bin. Right, let me clear all this up and I'll get all of the motor parts and we'll assemble the entire complete motor assembly. Right, here we go then. We need quite a lot for this. We need the loom from the old motor. We need the motor housing, the motor rubber, the ball shells, the 2 plastic bushes, the seal to the chassis. We need all of the yoke stuff as well, which is here, there and everywhere. We need quite a lot of stuff. But we need to start by refitting the motor loom. Again, you won't need to do all of this if you haven't broken your motor. And if you're just buying a new one, then this video is a little bit superfluous to your requirements because you can buy the whole thing as well. I'm just doing this because, well, it makes a nice complete video. Hopefully people will watch it. Oh, scoot forward a little bit so you can see me in glorious 4K. Now, the motor only goes in one way because the carbon brushes go in the gaps in the motor housing. Now the way to do this, because this is very fiddly, so you want to get this rubber on because lots of it goes around here. And it is a complete sod to get lined up sometimes. It really is very difficult. So the first thing I do is feed the wire through the rubber. There we go, look. Feed the wire through there. The rubber bit's got to come up because that is what seals the wire into the top housing. There we go. And then making sure that the motor is fully in place, which you can do by peering through the backside, where you can see everything. Obviously that's got to be pushed where are we? Right into there. Start to feed the motor rubber onto the motor, keeping very sure that the two bits are in alignment. It is very fiddly. And once it's sort of sat on top and you're fairly confident it's right, take the motor out and push it all the way down. All the way down. The back side of the rubber comes under the fan case. And that, but I think I've got these wires on the wrong side, you know, because the white wire is shorter than the black wire. So we'll swap those around because they only go on. Doesn't matter which way round they go, terminal wise. But yeah, that's a lot better. So now we've got to hope that we have done that correctly. And in theory, the whole thing should slot up. There's a few millimetres of wiggle room, however. So if it's not, you know, 100% right, you can manipulate it slightly. No, see, that's not lining up, look. You won't see that. That's not lining up. Ooh. So we've got to reposition the whole thing, which you might be able to do occasionally by just moving that around, offering it back up. Oh, perfect. There we go. And you'll know it fits because the whole thing slides home nicely. Right, let's get that on. Now with this on, it is simply a case of feeding the white plug through there, lining up the rubber boot almost, which only goes on one way, and again it twists around nicely without many real issues, and then you can pull it through with the cable, and then the whole thing simply sandwiches down on top of itself like that. The rubber boot goes up to the top, and then we need to lean over, get our screw card, and we need the motor housing screws. All 4 of them. Where's me motor housing screwdriver? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. The screwdriver's better. No, it's not. Oh, my tools are getting so worn out. It's starting to be a little bit of an issue. I must upgrade this year. 4, there we go. Now we can push the motor loom wires through their little channel into there, and then we need to look at this, which is the main bearing, and it is quite worn. You simply push them so far back. Let me do that again. You simply push the inside out and up it comes. The inner race won't come out, it is nicely affixed in there. We'll wipe all of the dirt off, give it a good old clean out, because this will help the thing glide a lot smoother. It won't be noisy on the floor. And I think you can buy new ones of these still, but there really is, if you want to do this properly, soak it in petrol or turps or some other properly good degreaser. Really strip it back to the bare bones and then start again. But this one's not too bad. Like I say, I have refurbished this before once, so it doesn't need an awful lot. Simply get it to this stage, then take some grease on the edge of a cotton bud and wipe it all the way around the inside of the race. You don't need a lot because it's not a load bearing thing. Literally is just to help the thing spin around. In theory, you just put that straight back in there like so until it clicks. Give it a bit of a wipe and with a couple of turns, there we go, that's just gone really smooth. And obviously I'm doing it like that, you can hear it. That's probably going to be how it goes. When you're vacuuming, you're not going to hear it. Plus obviously you're vacuuming, the motor's going to be on. You're definitely not going to hear it. That sits in there over the cables, which one has just come out. Thank you for that. There we go. Sits over there like so. The other side we have our small cog. This isn't worn, so again we'll stick a small smear of grease just around this, just to stop it from wearing, because it does. It's a friction fit, that. Then we can take our ball shell and simply drop the motor, lining up the two cogs, into it. We'll pop this bit on. Then we need our ball screws. Which go very nicely, like so. So if you were just doing the motor, you would just have all of this out. If you're just doing a motor and you bought a whole motor unit off of eBay, you would just have the whole thing off, swap the ball case over, job done. You wouldn't quite go to this depth. I mean, you could. Naked motors like I bought are cheaper by a good 10, 15, sometimes 20 quid. So if you're willing to put the effort in, I mean, I do have step-by-step refurb guides. You don't have to watch this video. There we go. And we're going to put the filter cover on because I haven't actually bought any filters yet at the time of filming this, because I just want to check it all works, especially now we've got an unknown motor in here. Bit of a pain in the bum. So that is done. Next, we need to do our yoke loom wiring, which goes a little bit like this. Once I have found this part here, so we need to fit the chassis, the wiring to the holder, and just like it came out, it slides in like so. This is really fiddly. You've got to push the cables into their little holes. Okay, I think if you need, DC24 doesn't seem to break its loom yoke, its yoke loom like the DC25 does. So it's probably not actually something you're ever going to need to replace. But if you do, I think the actual service kit from Dyson comes with this bit pre-assembled. So it does almost just drop in. It does on the DC25. This is very common to have to change this. If your floor head on your DC25 cuts in and out when you recline the machine, it's your yoke loom. Pure and simple. Then you've got to stop that bit from falling out, feed the wires through into there, tuck that bit under, then bend this bit round, and then it all just drops into place quite nicely. We then need our yoke wiring screw to put into the bottom. And that is our yoke done. So back out with the ball. We need to clip this on. Obviously you've got to feed the cable up. There we go. Now comes a slightly tricky part, and one that I'm probably not going to get right first time, is this sodding thing. Because this sodding thing tuck you back in there for a second. It wraps around here, you see, and this whole bit rides on the top of it. And I can never actually fully remember how this goes first time. This is why I haven't done a DC24 strip down video yet, because I can't do them completely blind yet. Let me just get this on and I'll tell you what I've done. I don't think that's 100% correct, because you now got to line the whole thing up. No. Ooh. Basically this end bit here on the cable has to sit in here, but it sits in a certain way, and I can never actually fully remember what that certain way is. I think it is that way. I don't think it is. Oh, I'm so confused. No, it is that way. And then the wire sort of, and then you've got to line up. This one's actually broken. There are some tabs that you've got to line up. One big one and one little one. So you've got to twist the motor until they both line up. Then it just snaps in. I think that's it. No, that's not it. Always seek professional advice when, there we go, when you do a vacuum cleaner. Never just rely on an idiot's YouTube guide. Especially one written by this idiot. There we go. That is now in place. So yes, that basically sits like that. And then when the yoke moves in relation to the motor, that wire inside can have lots of slack to sort itself out. Oh, you've come out, have you? Then this plug pushes back into there, like so, and again that is now as far as we can go, because we have probably going to have to tweak this wiring when it goes onto the chassis. But that is for video in 2 days time, because next on Dyson DC24 week we have to do the Cyclone and the Brushroll housing. So stay tuned for tomorrow. Oh, no, wait, we don't. We've got to fit this. I forgot about this. This is the locking pivot bar. If I can find the right little spring. I forgot about that. The little spring goes on. I don't know which spring it is. You know which springs are which because they stick to where they've got to go. That's a hint. This is very simple. It just pushes behind and around. This part here, which is easier than it looks. Normally it just goes. Why are you not just going? What have I done to you? Is it because I broke your original motor? I am sorry. I said I was sorry. I'm not sorry. Get on. Ah, there we go. Look. Manipulate that bit in there. Make sure that the spring sits on its little divot with the aid of a flat blade screwdriver. And make sure that's clicked into place, and you will have a nice bouncy bar. Right, that is definitely it for this video. We can even put this on now, look, just to complete it, although again that probably has to come off to fit into the chassis. One complete assembled motor unit. Thank you very much for watching this video. So I say next week, tomorrow, I'm not used to doing these weeks of stuff, we have the Cyclone and the Brushroll housing. So thank you very much for watching. Links are in the description to all of the previous videos of the week. So if you've just found this video thanks to YouTube's lovely algorithm, you actually missed the first look, the taking apart of the chassis, the taking apart of the Cyclone, the Brushroll and the motor. You've missed me breaking the motor completely. I did film this. I filmed it going horribly wrong. I then deleted all the footage in a strop, so that's why you sort of cut straight to me going, look, I broke it. Whoops, that's what the inside of the motor looks like. Look, in fact, we probably, oh, we can't, I haven't got my hammer, so we'll probably tap that out, but we're not going to. Yeah, that's scrap now. Right, until tomorrow, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you soon. Bye bye.